All right. Okay, we're back.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome to As the Pages Turn. We are talking about AI and explosions and the New York Times
And the
article.
whole clickbaitiness of AI writing a
Very
whole freaking book.
clickbaity. It's a lot of clickbaits coming up. But the new Fabio is Claude article came out on February 8th, published by Alexandra Alter. I have a few words for her, do not worry. And we're going to be talking about this. There's a lot of different sides. And the funny thing is, we found articles on both sides of the conversation. So we found articles defending Coral Heart. By the way, that's one of the main people who was mentioned and kind of what set book threads on fire because she made some commentary, and I don't care the context she made it in, but she made some commentary that pissed a lot of people, including technical difficulties.
That's
As
right.
always,
We had technical difficulties. Our
we are
unwanted
sponsored
sponsor.
by technical difficulties, everybody. Don't worry. We are sponsored by them, heavily sponsored. So,
Wish we were not. We need a sponsor that doesn't cut us
right?
off.
I know. Okay, so as I was saying, like, if you want to, we're going to call her Coral Heart. I'm not going to, because I know her other names because I kind of took a look into it. But we're not going to deep dive
We're
into all
also
of her other
going with that
names.
because that's the book I read under that pen name.
Yeah, but we're going to go with Coral Heart. But what I'm going to say is, what we're not going to do is, because I heard that she got a lot of death threats and no. If you
We
listen
don't play
to
that
this,
game. That's just uncalled for. I can disagree with
death
somebody. That
threats.
doesn't mean I need to threaten them. That's just wrong.
I know. If you want to read the books and then review bomb them, that is entirely your choice and your opinion. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to death threat people, because I don't care how serious you think the AI thing is. It's not equal to a death threat. Y'all need to calm down in that.
You shouldn't go and threaten somebody's life over it. That's extreme and
threatening
unnecessary.
Their family, because I heard there was threats against her young daughter. We're also not going to do that. Yeah. So what we're not going to do. So I'm prefacing this.
Nobody even think about it.
We're going to talk about this subject because this is, let's be real, this is a heavily nuanced, AI in itself is a heavily nuanced subject. Yeah. And there are a lot of people who have tried to start the discussion, good, bad, and ugly, and it always ends up in some kind of extreme explosion. Now, this article is kind of the worst, honestly, to me. I kind of agree. There was 2 articles done that I found. Oh, there's a lot of articles done.
Well, we found several articles after you found the 2, but still.
There was 2 big ones for and against the author in question, okay, Coral Heart. And what was interesting to me is they both, what I found really funny is they both kind of made the same point, that the New York Times was clearly, this author, Alexandra Alter, hello, darling, nice to meet you, was clearly doing a very heavily biased piece in favor of AI being used to write books. And because it's obvious, and when I say obvious, I mean, she only interviewed, 2 or 3 authors. All of them either have a direct business line to AI being used to write books, or they're all being funded by it. So of course they're very pro AI being used for books, right? Right. And then on top of that, it was interesting because the person who was for Coral Heart and kind of says, hey, I kind of know of this person. I've interacted with them before. There's a lot of stuff they didn't mention. They didn't mention that she's been in the business. Well, they kind of mention it, but they don't talk about how she's been in
because when you brought this up to me the first time, it wasn't until you researched deeper. Actually, even when I was researching it, we didn't hear it mentioned until you started looking through a few more articles and then you found it.
Yeah, and so they kind of mention she's been in the business, but they don't talk about how she's had 10 different pen names. She's written a lot of stuff before AI even existed. So it was interesting to me that they deliberately made a point. This author of this article definitely wanted the clickbait. New York Times editors must have loved this because they're like, oh, we know those book talk people are going to come and pay for this because they're going to be real mad. So
yeah, that's true. Nobody loves having the AI controversy more than book talk, and it gets out of control.
So I will say the first point to both these articles, to and against, I think they both got one thing right. And I think the one thing everybody got right was clearly the New York Times was doing this to get the views. They were doing this to make money. They're a business. They've had some drop off since certain things have happened. So of course they're going to try to make money. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about it, but just I think the biggest thing to remember about this is that it was, and sorry to, let me make sure, Alexandra Alter. Here's the thing. You can, and if you want to like come talk to us about this, because I'm sorry, I've taken a few journalism classes. I'm not a journalist, by the way, not at all. I'm an author, a previous English major. I took some.
Well, in a way, we kind of are journalists, but we're unofficial journalists.
I mean, we're very unofficial, so we're more on the commentary side. But when I say, like, I know a biased article when I read it. And Darlene, you wrote a biased article, but hey, part of your job is to make sure that you make money for the New York Times. So the girl did her job. She did her job. Congrats to her, because you started a whole firestorm. But I kind of feel like you also did these people a disservice, because by putting this out as heavily biased as you put it out, you actually ensured that not only would Book Talk, I mean, obviously Book Talk was always going to talk about it, right?
Well, really, the reader and writer communities in general, even off of the talk.
Yeah, like people were livid. When I say, like, I'm not okay with the death threats and all that shit, but I don't, you know what? People went in and review bombed the fuck out of every alias. And by the way, this woman did not hide her identity that well. People found it very quickly, because that's the thing. The author of this article made sure to mention enough things that Book Talk had no problem. I'm sorry. We are in a group
about Book Talk. You found it in 5 seconds when you were telling me about it.
And that's what I'm saying is, like, I feel like this author of this article owes the people in her article an apology, because part of the reason, so let's start with the article, is that you have Coral Hart, you have Sonia R, we'll say R because I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. And
Elizabeth we don't want to mispronounce it.
And all three of these, now Coral Hart is just an alias. It's an early alias she had, like an early pseudonym she had for some of her book series. And so in that, like, she even specifically said, and it was put in the article, that she didn't want to reveal her real name. She didn't want to put anything in there because she thought her best business would be affected. And oh boy, howdy was it, because people, after this article came out, and we'll get into why people were pissed, after this article came out, because it was so heavily biased in AI should be used to write books a favor, people were livid. They went out, and especially some of the quotes that, now here's a fun thing, is that when I read the article kind of defending her, not totally defending her, but kind of saying, hey, you need to know the background of this woman, because I don't think they did a good job telling you. In it, they talk about how the context of her statement, that they feel like she must have been talking about it in a certain context, and that it got taken out of context and put into the article out of context. And I find that interesting, because I'm like, you have this very heavily biased article, and you made it so, like, here's the thing, you guys, you will have heard about this quote, because this is what set it off. This, and I'll be honest, like, this pissed me off. This was the one
I think everybody in our community of authors, we couldn't stand this. It's the second we heard it.
It was annoying as fuck, honestly. Let's be real. Yeah. So the quote that got everywhere, that literally went viral in 2.5 seconds, okay, was, if I can generate a book in a day and you need 6 months to write a book, who's going to win that race? And that quote,
this is a race I didn't even know we were in.
I wasn't in the race. I didn't join this race. I
didn't know. You know, I'm not a fan of running. I didn't know I was racing you. Like me, I didn't know you and I were trying to race to get our books or completely different things out.
Did I buy new shoes for the book convention we're going to? Yes. Am I going to use them to race around? No, ma'am. No, I'm not. So
I'm not running, but that's besides the point.
Don't put me in a race I didn't agree to.
I thought, our whole thing was to sit down and craft a good book with the ideas we came up with. I didn't know we were racing each other, in which case our dear friend Silas Seabrook, who has written several books, and our friend Rayana, who also has written several books, they've won, because I can't put out a book as fast as they do.
If we're in a race, they already beat us, and I'm not in this race. I don't want to play. Anyways, so let's talk about the article, right? So this article was called "The New Fabio is Claude." Now, what's interesting is Crystal actually brought this up to me right before the podcast, and I, as like I've read Harlequin, I've read a lot of stuff, so I've
never read Harlequin. I didn't even know why he was famous.
Back in the 80s, a lot of the first romance books were Harlequin and Mills. They were the big brand and they were very short books. They were very intense. I mean, as intense as they could get back in the day. I mean, compared to the stuff that came before, it was like it was an on fire kind of thing, right?
It was the risque book.
Yeah, it was very risque. Housewives fucking loved it. What was interesting is a lot of people might, especially Gen Z, probably doesn't know. Some of them might.
Oh, you know, Gen Z predominantly doesn't know. They're into whatever new romance thing came back in my day.
Look, I'm not gonna. I'll be nice to Gen Z. I'm gonna give them credit that some of them do their research. So, Gen Z may not know this, and probably even some younger millennials don't know this. So Fabio was kind of the cover guy. He was the guy they used for these Harlequin and Mills covers. They put them out there. Him with the flowing blonde hair, blah blah blah. I wasn't like I didn't read anything with him on it. I'll be honest. I read some of the other stuff that came out of Harlequin. He was not.
And like I said, I didn't even know why he was famous. I knew he modeled something. I didn't know it was for a freaking book.
Yeah, so he was a famous model and then became a book cover model. And this is actually, you know what? We actually owe Fabio some credit. And here's why, you guys. For all the romance authors out there who now have a chance to write all their books, Fabio was probably half the reason the genre got off to the start. Because you know that a lot of conservative groups blackballed romance for years and years and years, right?
Especially since we all know they were secretly reading it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, they were. But it wasn't until like the late 70s, I want to say, and 80s that Fabio was being used on the cover. He was very famous. Everybody liked his look. And that really pushed Harlequin and Mills books into the limelight. It pushed them into every suburban household. So like when you talk about how we're able to sit here and make all these different genres, I mean, yes, have romance books been written for years? Yeah. And have they had different types of titles? Yes. But it was really, kind of thanks to Fabio and a lot of the early cover people who were on Harlequin, because until Harlequin and Mills kind of did that, like I don't think before Harlequin, I could be wrong, and I'll have to look this up and then report back to the next episode. But I want to say they didn't really use couples on covers until after him, like during and after.
Yeah, we'll need to look into that because I know romance through the years, it's like it had this extreme up and down.
He was just the most well known, but it's interesting to me that because of how popular it got, that's why we're all here. So we kind of owe him a K thanks,
but that's the only thing we're thanking you for, Fabio. That's it.
Yes. And also somehow he has magical hair. We'll talk about that later.
He has magical hair to women who are very pent up.
I feel like I heard somewhere it was a wig, but okay, let's not talk about it. I'm not here to disparage his hair. So
well, considering how old he is now, if he has hair that delicate, it's probably a wig. But anyway.
Anyways. So if you read this article, and I'll try to summarize. So basically, in this biased, and I'm going to say biased article, because to me, in my personal opinion, it is biased, because the only 3 people they talk to, mind you, they don't talk to anybody on Book Talk who's against AI. They don't talk to anybody who's even kind of in the mid-range, because there's a lot of us who are like in the mid-range, not with writing. I will be very specific. None of us agree with using AI to write books.
We do not. Have we used it for certain tools like research or maybe to make advertisements? But
we'll talk about that later. That's definitely going to come up later. But it's more the point that AI to write your books is very, and that, like, even to me is very not okay. Like, it is, to me, it's like part of the joy of writing the book is to have the idea yourself, go over it, put it on the pages. And yes, is it hours of like
hours? It can be fucking months, a lot of times years.
Yeah, like for example, like I just spent the last 3 weeks reformatting a book because I didn't realize it had gotten screwed up. That was after I had already taken months to write the book. So when I say a lot of work goes into writing books, like that is true. Understated.
Because I've been working on my book Cursive Frog Prince Part 3 for almost 4 years now, because I had to take a break from it, and it's still taking me a long time to write. It's the process.
And that's the thing. So it takes a long time to write, but it was this article pissed a lot of people off because the tone of the article, and that's why I say I don't even necessarily blame Coral Hart for how this article sounded. I'm really looking at the author of it, because the whole tone of the article, especially with those quotes, because
it does feel arrogant.
There was a few quotes. It was very much, the attitude was, well, you all just have to accept that you're going to have to use AI. And to those of us who are indie authors who have, let's be real, indie authors, like, yes, we have an easier time with keeping our books to our standards because we have control over everything, but we also have no money. So like, we have control of our ideas, but we have no money. Traditional publishing is the opposite. And what's funny is, we'll talk about this too. There was an interview that came out with Sarah J. Maas. Some people like her, some people don't. And on the Call Me Daddy podcast. And in that discussion, somebody noticed that she talked about her relationship with her publishing company. And it kind of mentioned the fact that they like literally forced her to write a book. Like, she was only like 3 weeks or like a month or two postpartum after having a baby. And her publishing company made her come back online, go over a book. Like, I guess they needed her to like do a quick edit or something. And then she took time away from her newborn to do this. And then when she sent it back to them with all her notes, they basically said, oh, we didn't really need you to do it.
Well, that was a huge waste of time. What the hell, folks?
Like, she could have been spending time with her baby. So it's stories like that. That's not the only story, by the way, with traditional publishers. So like, when we say that like indie authors, we can keep our ideas and do whatever we want, but we have no money. Traditional authors have a harder time. Like, they have the opposite. They have access to the money for their stuff, but they don't really have a lot of the creative control. They have to cede some of that to the publishing companies. So
sometimes more than some.
Yeah, and that's, by the way, the publishing company thing. That's a different discussion for a different day. But in this article, I'm sorry, we're talking. It's been 18 minutes.
Well, it's because we're getting to specifics and stuff. Because even though there's a whole elaboration we'll need to do in a different video, we do want to give you guys kind of an idea of how this works.
Of how everything works, because that plays into this. That plays into why so many authors were upset by this article, especially indie authors, because we do a lot of work, we don't have a lot of money, and then you have this article come out with this quote of, oh, well, it's a race and you're not doing it right. Well, excuse the F out of me, but I don't think I asked for your opinion, ma'am, is how I felt. So if you get into this article, what it comes down to is they interviewed the author, Alexandra interviewed 3 different authors who all are heavily invested in AI. And what I mean by that is all of them have businesses that talk about teaching authors how to use AI. And point in fact, Coral Hart specifically, that author, is making her own AI program to help write romance books, because she talks about in here, this was kind of funny to me when I read this article, is that she talks about how like she could mostly have AI write the book, but for the explicit scenes, she couldn't trust it because it did a terrible job.
Well, AI is very finicky about stuff like that. Like, I think I told you about this just to give people an idea. I wanted to just make a quick little ad with AI to show a woman unbuttoning a man's shirt. I didn't say take it all off, just the shirt. And AI refused. It said it's too inappropriate. It violates this. And it was every AI thing that I came across. All of them refused to do it. And I understand why she didn't trust it with that, because it can't write it.
It can.
And these programs, for the most part, refuse to do it.
And what is a romance? I mean, even if you have a very like closed door. So for those of you who may not know, if you're new to a book space, closed door, there's closed door and open door. Closed door romances, and that was a lot of like 70s and 80s. I mean, even now though, we have it. Like, I have one that's closed door, is where you see everything leading up to the moment, and then you see the aftermath, but you don't see the explicit sex scene, okay? And then open door is all no holds barred. It's whatever the author wants to show you.
Open door, everything's coming out.
And so the thing is, with AI prompts, a lot of them have terms of service where they are not allowed to do explicit stuff. They just aren't. The companies don't want to F around. I don't blame them.
That's true. They don't want to do that. And explicit scenes, even when you write them, they are the hardest ones to write, even if you're doing closed door.
Well, and there's a subject here, and we'll talk about this. There is a subject where AI has been used with child pornography. We'll just call it that.
Yeah.
And that actually is a thing that has been talked about, where this has become a problem, which is why AI companies made a point, as terrible as the fuck they are, and we'll get into why they're terrible, by the way. As terrible as they are, they made a point to change a lot of their terms and service and make it so that nobody could do, because but by the way, some of them waited years to fix this, because there was a time where people were like, hey, your AI program is very fucking explicit, especially with children. children, and they were not fixing it. So it got finally, as far as I know, most AI companies now have not only just terms and services, but
we're going to say allegedly they have it because I've still been hearing stuff.
Okay, well, we'll say most of the AI companies allegedly have fixed the problems when it comes to explicit content, especially with children, but that's why a lot of them don't allow any explicit content. So what they were talking about here is that there is this chatbot that's called Claude by a company, I think it's Anthropic's chatbot. And that's the one that she ended up using because it was the most versatile, I guess is the way they put it. And basically, she said in her techniques, she had to give him very specific instructions, a list of kinks, and stressing that sex was not gratuitous or something, and kind of went from there. So the thing is that she talks about how she put in a bunch of prompts and she was able to write a book in 45 minutes. And then she talks about, now here's the thing, they do mention, the one thing they mention is that she's had a lot of pseudonyms, she's written a lot of books, she's been in the industry for 16 years. She's actually worked for publishing companies, which, by the way, I don't think they actually mentioned that in here, but I found that in another article that was defending her where they talk about that, yeah, she actually worked in the publishing industry for a couple of years. She's done ghostwriting. So the ghostwriting part they actually mentioned, but that was a little shady how they mentioned it.
Yeah, so, it wasn't really clear because it got us confused when we read what they said with the ghostwriting thing.
Yeah, so it's like they weren't very clear on her background, but from what I'm able to glean from research is that she's worked in the industry before AI was even a thing in the industry. So this is not somebody who clearly wrote all her books with AI. And here's the only grace I'm willing to give, okay, is that because, by the way, the article that was defending her talking about it was basically like, hey, this one quote, the quote we mentioned earlier, was taken out of context. And she was really just trying to say that readers have these expectations for books to be coming out. And so it's hard on authors. They have to put a lot of books out. And so this, like, she wasn't supposedly trying to brag and be smug about it. She was trying to say something to the effect of, it's the readers who have these expectations. So, hey, if you use AI, that will help you meet the expectations. My point, I will give her the grace that maybe the context was lost in the article. And so a lot of people were pissed. Like I said, Book Talk went on a rampage with this one. Book Threads, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, anything that had a book space, Facebook, everybody was talking about it. Okay. Everybody was mad. So, and this is where people took it to extreme. So for all the people who did the death threats and all that shit, y'all need to find a life, touch grass, and or be in jail. Because no, I don't care how upset you were about AI usage. I don't care. There's no excuse for doing death threats, especially against her child. Y'all need
that crosses a serious line. It's not funny.
Walk yourself to jail, because I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. That's not okay. That's not justified. Now, I can say,
if you're going to react like that, then you need to really start thinking about what is going on in your life to make you react that way, because that's fucked up.
Now, the article defending her was talking about how, all these people who didn't read her books went and review bombed. Now, what's interesting, I'm going to throw this to Crystal now, because me and Crystal were talking about this, and obviously we're like, okay, we're definitely doing an article about this. And then Crystal was like, I'm going to go read one of her Coral Heart books. And she did. Crystal, take away the Coral Heart section of what you read in the book you chose.
Okay, I believe this is one of her AI books. It has Coral Heart on there. And from what I could tell, I believe that it was, the book is called Love. Oh, let me say, chapel check. It's called Love Overboard, and it was published in 2025. The book is just like supposed to be this close proximity, second chance romance thing about a woman, her friend tricks her into going on a singles cruise. How she did that was not elaborated on in a way that was interesting. It just kind of happened. She goes to her room, finds out she's being forced to bunk with some dude. The two of them try to get the cruise to correct it, but somehow all the rooms are booked, which
those rooms, man.
Yeah. Your laughter, you got your laughter from me saying that. It was more the reaction I got out of it reading it.
those cruises, that
Yeah,
booking
because my
in random
brain was
staterooms with
too
strange
much
men.
in real life. It wouldn't really work out that way because that's
Yeah,
where my brain was trailing while reading this story. Because okay, they have it, they're doing the whole they're fighting, supposed to be enemies, and they're trying to be like, oh, they're really kind of attracted to each other, but don't want to admit it. And then you got the cruise romance coordinator person trying to, push them to be more together and everything.
gross.
And they're like both of them apparently have been in romance relationships previously that left them scarred. I'm borderlining being done with the book. I haven't finished it yet, but the problem with the entire story is that I didn't give a shit. Now,
Yeah,
y'all have heard me rant about Silver Elite and, oh, this is a problem, oh, that is a problem, blah, blah, blah. But it still elicited an emotional reaction out of me. I could get some emotion was formed. This book is supposed to be romance, but it's it's kind of like extreme fluff romance. And I'm not criticizing anybody who likes that.
yeah,
But there are stakes in this book that don't feel like stakes because they're like, yeah, whatever, that happened, whatever. Like
yeah.
the female character has this notebook that's super important to her that she almost loses and all this stuff, and the guy retrieves it for her. You have to think about it. In normal stories, if a woman loses the thing that's super important to you, you're like, oh my goodness, oh, you gotta get it. Me, I,
Yeah.
I really didn't care. I'm like, oh, your notebook fell. You probably should grab that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so the problem also with the AI writing is AI is not a person. Like when you and I write a book, we're
Yeah,
thinking, what can elicit a reaction out of our audience?
yeah.
What's gonna make them be like, oh my goodness, this, that, and the other thing? And we consider that. AI, it just feels like you're going through the motions. Okay, all right, act one happened, act two, act three, you're done.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, like, and what's funny is that, like, it's talked about extensively in this article about how AI has issues with the emotional overtones, the like sexual overtone, like all of it and above, right? So it's like, clearly, is it going to replace authors writing real books? No, it's not. No, it's just not. But
If
like,
anything, it's gonna lose a lot of money for books if all of them are like this.
yeah, but that was the other part of this article. Like, and here's the interesting thing: like, you read it, right? And it wasn't, you weren't getting any reaction. Now, somebody else could
Yeah,
read
you
it
were
and say,
expecting
okay,
me to. She was literally expecting me to rant, rave,
I
talk about
think,
how terrible it was. And I was
yeah,
like, it's all right. And she was thinking,
I
is
figured
that
I'd get
it?
like a Silver Elite reaction, not gonna lie, because I felt, look, I heard about Silver Elite from Crystal for months. But like that, but what's funny is Crystal, you, and I'm gonna quote you on this. Crystal talked about the fact that she had to give Silver Elite a break because at least it got a reaction out of her. So I just put it out there, you guys. Crystal did in fact love Silver Elite. So
I didn't love it. It was a piece of
Very
crap, but
quickly,
the piece of crap got more of a
before
reaction out of me than this. That's not good.
before Crystal can correct me, she loved it.
I
Moving
already
on.
did.
Don't even. So anyways, she talks about how, what's interesting, by the way, also is that Coral Hart talks about how she's developing her own program. So again, heavily biased. Like, of course, the person who's developing an AI program to write shit for authors is going to be pro AI, like whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we go to, who's the next one? Sonia Rampati. Anyways, she's a psychologist who lives in Athens, started writing romance books. And she talks about, what's funny is, even like this article was supposed to be pro AI, by the way, but yet Coral Hart's talking about how it basically sucks at sex scenes. And then Sonia talks about how it sucks with plus size like sex scenes. So I'm like, or just plus size scenes to be, because she writes plus size romance. Well, I don't know if we should say she writes it, because she basically admits that she uses AI to write it. But she's like, oh, it helped my writing process. I can produce 10 novels a year now. Da 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 da. Okay, whatever. So, anyways,
You can produce 10 somethings a year now.
but she talks about how, well, while the program made writing faster and easier, it was terrible at describing. So literally everything we're getting from this article, if you really break it down, it's pro AI because it'll make it fast, okay? And we have
Fast isn't always good.
I know, but like we have to do it fast so the readers can get their books. Okay, but hold on, because
yeah, that's only a problem when you're making a part 2.
But here's the thing. It's good at the fast, but it's bad at the character descriptions. It's bad at the sex scenes descriptions. What is a romance book if it's not character descriptions and romance descriptions and then
I don't know. It's
So
more of a, to be honest, this feels more like, from what I even read with the AI book, I feel like it's a writing prompt. It
yeah.
feels more like a writing prompt that we could use to make a better book, to help give us maybe some ideas that we could do a better job with later and create something new and better.
Well, and my thing is, here's the thing. I want to say that, like, I don't think you should ever use AI to write a book. I don't think you should
Neither
even
do
use it
I.
for prompts. But I also understand because, and then let's get into this portion of the discussion because, as Crystal was saying earlier, okay, so basically, it like here's the thing. We were talking about this like earlier, and we've had this discussion. Like we've had this AI discussion, and this is where, and someday we will have the true AI discussion.
We're going to have an in-depth
Because
one day. It's
yeah,
just right now there's so much controversy. And
oh my
with the
god,
way we have
so much.
to approach it carefully, because some people get hot under the collar,
Yeah.
we're going to be saving that video for later when we're more prepared to have something really in-depth.
When we have facts and statistics. But so here's
Several
the thing, part of
articles
the
and
AI
stuff.
discussion is that there are AI tools that people use. So like we have an author friend who uses AI tools, not AI, doesn't write her books. She writes her books, but she uses it because she's very dyslexic. So she uses it in her process to make sure that she hasn't switched a shit ton of words. So she's already written it. She's literally just using it to make sure she's caught all that stuff because she has, dyslexia. We have a lot of people like Grammarly. A lot of people use the AI Grammarly to catch grammar issues because let's be real, grammar issues are not authors' friends.
They are not.
We argue with grammar issues. So, and yes, there's a lot of books printed to help, like the Chicago MLA, Style of Format, Silas, shout out to you. Like, that's his favorite book.
As he quotes constantly, I don't criticize him for it, but he brings it up
a lot. I told him I'm going to start charging for it. Real story. I'm going to charge him money every time he brings it up. I'll get rich real quick.
You would. He brings it up a lot.
I know,
and I can't criticize him for it because the more he uses that, the more we get free editing.
Right. So here's the thing: is that there are books to help you with grammar, but it's like sometimes when you're in the heart of the book, you don't have the time kind of to take a break, go to a grammar book. Like you do all that in the editing process, right? And that's why we also have editors.
Yeah,
because
but even after we do that, we still have to get to an editor because we read it too many times, and sometimes people notice things you never will or know something.
Well, I mean, I have that problem now where I literally edited this book like 600 times, and then as I was working on the formatting, because the formatting got screwed up in translation with KDP, asked me how that happened. I have no flipping clue. But in in the lost in translation part, I still found errors, and I remember editing this thing 600 times. I had other people edit it, and somehow there was still stuff we both missed. So that's
you sound like me when I was editing the colored pages of Wedded Bliss, because that thing was edited grammar error galore.
Yes. So that's the thing, is you can still miss stuff. And I understand, because there is this, what's interesting is this has also come up in this topic, is that there is this expectation from readers. And I'm not going to say they shouldn't have this expectation, but there is this expectation from readers that that indie author books need to be just as good as traditional author books. Now, I am not going to say boo or yay to that. I agree that you should have expectations. And you know what? Indie authors should do their best. But if there's one or two errors in a book, my thing is with readers is if there's one or two errors, I feel like if it's an indie author, give them a break, because
even big time trad published authors have a couple errors in their books. Yes. It's like errors aren't completely avoidable. Nothing's foolproof. We do the best job we can, but we cannot stop any errors from getting in through.
So that's the thing, is that, you're going to have a few errors probably. I mean, and here's the thing, we have really good editors, so most of the time all that shit gets caught. If you have one or two, whatever, it's not going to break the book, to my mind. And I think if you're a reader or you're being that critical of a book, then maybe you should take a breath too and touch some grass. I'll just say that nicely there.
Touch the nice grass, relax, take a breath. Don't freak out.
This is all to say that the AI discussion is very nuanced. I mean, hands down, the biggest thing we all agree on, minus a couple of these authors, is that you should not be using AI to write books, period.
Exactly. No, we don't need AI writing the books. We write the books, because if we write the books, you'll get an emotional reaction. AI does it. It's like, it's okay.
But here's the thing, is that it's like AI should not be writing books. Now, AI tools that help an author who has dyslexia or who has those, and sometimes Grammarly, AI, and all that shit gets grouped into the, oh my God, it's so terrible. And I hate that shit. I hate the whole, the like, we have the torch writing mobs that are like, well, all AI, if you do any kind of AI, even tools that help, then you're just as bad as somebody who uses AI to write a book. I disagree. I've always disagreed.
But I do want to get into this real quick while we're on this subject of how using as a tool helps.
Yeah.
There are a couple authors I know. Did they tell AI to write the book? Yes. But did they publish the AI written book? No. They used it to write a book just to get ideas from it. And they took the basic ideas from the AI because it had some ideas they didn't consider. And they went and actually wrote a more thorough, more well thought out and story that takes their readers on an adventure. And the whole reason why they had the AI do the initial writing was to help them, like I was mentioning earlier, with a bit of a prompt to help them think about more stuff they hadn't considered.
See, and I have to just, I'll just say for me personally, I disagree with that. And I will just say, but I'm not going to judge anybody.
No, they wrote the book themselves, hon. They just used it more like a prompt to get the idea.
It's like, but that, see, and to me, this actually is a good segue to why AI is such a controversial topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand using it for prompts. For like, hey, I have this idea, fine tune the idea. But at the same time, if you're still having it write the thing out, like that's still kind of using it. And I slightly like, this is the part of me where I'm like, I don't mind it for the tools. Like if you're using it to check your work for dyslexia purposes or, whatever disability you have that gives you issues, fucking yeah, use it to check your shit. But if you're using it to give you ideas, that's the part I disagree with because, and I'll just say this to me, because this is what makes AI such a problem. Because a lot of the fucking companies who developed AI went in, took a lot of authors' works without their consent, without their knowledge, without any payment to them, and used it to train their bots to do that kind of thing. So it's like when you go in and see, that's why prompts are kind of the issue for me personally. And that's where, and again, I'm not going to condemn anybody.
I get the mixed feelings about prompts because of what these companies done. Like, I get why they use it as a prompt because sometimes you need a prompt to help you get ideas for stuff. Because heaven knows we used to participate in prompt parties to help us get ideas. And I understood their sentiments because they weren't, copying and pasting this AI story. They looked at it, read it, they got some ideas and then wrote their own thing.
And there is a throwback to the comments of there's nothing new under the sun. And that's true. There's every type of writing prompt, whether it's AI or human, because AI is based on human writing. It's been done before. I mean, my favorite example is William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, half his shit that he produced that he is famous for is actually from other countries and other oral traditions. And literally, he was just the first person to write it down. Legitimately,
because person in my memory, Romeo and Juliet is based off of Tristan and Isolde.
Mm-hmm. And you have Hamlet was based off a Scandinavian legend that had orally translated through the Denmark. Was it Denmark and what's the other one? Denmark monarchy and other places. And he happened to come upon it because he had talked, I think it was like fishermen or something that were like related to people who had heard the oral tradition in their families. So it's like a lot of the stories he got had already existed for hundreds of years. He was just the first guy to write them down. So it's like technically AI, anything AI puts out has already been done under the sun, right? But where I get iffy, and first of all, never ever for AI writing books, fuck that. I don't care how pro AI
do not have AI write your entire book and then you go and publish it. No.
Fuck it. We're not
basically, if anything, just taking stuff from other authors. Like when I was saying at the writing prompt, we may have mixed feelings about that, but I can still say the person still went and wrote their own book.
Oh yeah, no, and I know who you're talking about. And
I'm just clarifying what I'm getting at in this moment.
Yeah.
But I can still say the person they were using a prompt. Okay, they still went and wrote their own book. They're just getting ideas from there. But somebody who just has AI write it and then just copy paste it, put it in the thing. It's like, no.
And that's where we get. So the last part of this article is about Elizabeth Ann West, who founded Future Fiction, which is a AI generated novel publishing company. No.
I'll admit I'm not a fan.
No. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to talk shit. I'm just going to say no.
I'm just not a fan. I don't even like that idea remotely, because I even told you when I was even bringing up somebody, my brother and I were assuming wrote an AI book. He was laughing because he was still went on saying, oh, it will make absolutely no money. And this is from people who use AI as a tool.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Elizabeth Ann West, actually, she's the one kind of I have the biggest problem with. Because look, Coral Hart and Sonia, whatever, they both actually teach classes. And actually, does Elizabeth Ann West do it too? I'm pretty sure she also teaches classes on how to write with AI. So all these people try to make money off this article, like, oh, okay. But what I didn't like, Elizabeth Ann West was actually the one that I had the biggest problem with, because she talked about how, if you hide that there's AI, it sells just fine. Girl, please.
Like, if you hide that it's AI, it's still not going to help your book sell better, because it's complete slop.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I say that I like this. This frustrates not just the author part of me, but the reader part of me, because I've been a reader for fucking years. And to me,
we've been readers long before the author thing.
Here's the thing. If you're going to write AI and you're going to stand the fuck by it, then stand the fuck by it. Tell people. You hiding it is disgraceful. Honestly, that to me is the worst. I mean, I'll give it to Coral Hart. She's not fucking trying to hide it. She might have tried to hide.
I'll hand it to her. She was upfront saying, yeah, I did this, and she didn't try to hide it.
She doesn't hide it. But Elizabeth Ann West was like, well, it sells just fine if you hide it. And then she talks about how eventually the readers will not care. Girl, I don't know if you've met any readers that care. They very
not the
much
readers
care.
I've met.
Because that's the thing is that, and like I said earlier, that's why people are so pissed at AI, because it doesn't matter if it's art. It doesn't matter if it's writing. Everything AI companies give you is from somebody's stolen shit. None of these companies have paid anybody for their artwork. Nobody has paid.
That is true.
None of these companies have paid authors. I mean, what lawsuit just came out? What was it against? Was it Facebook? Like the Facebook AI?
I think it was Facebook.
I think it was Facebook. The Facebook
AI. It was either Facebook or Twitter, but I think it was Facebook.
They used at least, and by the way, this was at least 200 books that had been published to train their AI bots without compensating. This is a multi-million-dollar company, and you can't compensate. Now, I think all of this discussion would be different if these companies that had AI companies had compensated authors, artists, illustrators, all these people fairly, but they didn't. They just took it and went with it. And that's why this topic, especially for a lot of readers, gets very fucking sensitive, because they look at the fact that some of their favorite people got their shit stolen. They look at the fact that their favorite cover illustrator, their favorite artist had their stuff taken and used in AI, and then now you're using it like 2 years after the fact, after it's been trained. And so that's why a lot of people are anti-AI, rightfully so, because they look at it and say, well, wait a minute, these multi-million-dollar companies didn't want to spend a couple $100,000, or like not even, I mean, you could probably legitimately pay an author who's not traditionally published. You could probably pay us a solid couple grand to use bits of our work. If you had said, hey, if I was approached by somebody who's like, hey, I'm trying to train this bot, can I pay you for a temporary usage? Now, mind you, if it was only temporary and it wouldn't keep repeating, sure, it'd be a couple thousand. If it was permanent, which most of AI
permanent,
is,
screw you.
We're going to do hundreds of that. We're going to talk millions. I want millions. But again,
I want some millions. You can't permanently use my stuff unless I'm getting hardcore paid for it.
Exactly. They didn't even try. They just
Of course,
stole it.
to be honest, I wouldn't even trust them with that, because I know how these companies think, and I know they're going to take it and do something royally effed up with it.
So that's the thing, is that a lot of these companies didn't even bother to do that. They just took it and assumed, oh, hey, it's published. That means it's fair game. Nuh-uh. No, it's not. So that's why a lot of readers are so ardent in their passions on this, and I totally support them, because they're looking at how they would feel if their stuff was stolen, and they're looking at their favorite author who got their shit stolen, and they're like, this is not the fuck okay. Like, how dare you steal my favorite author's work, not compensate her or him for it? And then some other author is going to be like, oh, well, I used AI to write a book. It's not a big deal. No big deal, broski. No, it is. It is a big deal.
It is a huge deal. Thank you very much.
So that's the thing. That's when I say that, like, this is a nuanced discussion. It is, because nobody in this discussion, minus a few of these twerps, think that using using AI to write a book is the fuck okay. It's not. Now,
Yeah.
AI tools is, again, and that's a different subject, but that ends up getting lumped in. And then you have like, and then we'll talk about this down the road of like people doing AI ads because they don't have money for advertising, and then they get lumped into the whole, which is bullshit there too. But again, you understand why people would be upset, because a lot of these people got their shit stolen. So even if it's sort of kind of not alike, they still use stolen product to make it. So that's why people get so passionate. So it's like, I think everybody in this discussion understands it. But the thing is, this article was so fucking tone deaf, and it was so
extremely tone deaf, and it was clearly marketing something and failed at it spectacularly.
And here's the interesting thing is that literally, by the way, let's talk about this. The article ends on Elizabeth Ann West saying, eventually readers will not care. That's what the article ends on. So
really, I think the readers do care as much as we get feedback about every damn thing we write.
Yeah, they care. They care a lot. So that's my thing, is that this article was heavily biased. Alexandra Alter, who evidently writes about books, publishing in the literary world for the Times. Girl, you wrote this heavily biased, or guy, I'm sorry. I could be, I don't know your pronouns. So if it's different, please tell me, I'll correct it. I like to be correct in my pronouns, but you cannot sit here and tell me you weren't just writing this for clickbait to try to make the New York Times money. And so then what happened? What's the fallout? Let's talk about the fallout part, because Coral Hart got effed. She literally, I mean, honestly, I wish Elizabeth Ann West had gotten more effed, because I mean, she got DNF'd on a lot of things. So
like, I'm not a fan of the book, but I did feel like they were going too far.
Yeah, but like Coral Hart, it took people 5 minutes. I'm gonna say 10 minutes, but Book Talk, this is why I don't like the person who wrote this article, honestly. This is why I kind of have beef with them, because you're literally sitting here saying in your article that Coral Hart's trying to hide who she is because she knows that this is not a popular topic, and you made it so obvious where to fucking find her. People literally
a little too Facebook, obvious, which did bother me.
But then you make the point of saying, oh, well, she didn't want to put her real name in. Well, you put in enough information that Book Talk found that information in 5.3 seconds. So you literally enabled this woman to get death threats. So then here's because the article that again was defending her was talking about, hey, like, doing death threats is not the fuck okay. Like, why are you people doing this? Totally agree.
It's like, why? It's just a book. Like, I don't like the fact that it was written by AI, but you don't need to threaten somebody over a damn book.
Like, you can, my thing is, if you're review bombing it, whatever, the person was like, well, review bombing is so unfair. Look,
well, that's not nice to do, but still.
If readers are going to be mad and review bomb, I'm not going to call them out for it. I'm not. I just won't. Because you know what? It's better that they're not doing death threats. They're just making their opinions known. And by the way, a lot of Book Talk people are honest. So probably a lot of them review bombed and said, hey, we didn't read it, but we read this article. Like, I bet you money, a lot of them were like, we read this, we don't support this.
Yeah, although personally, I think if you're going to give somebody a bad review, do it over the quality of their work. Yeah, not just for the sake of doing it.
Like, read it first and then review bomb it. That's how I feel, but it's okay. Like, but death threats, not okay. And I really dislike the fact that this author made it so easy, because people found her in 5 minutes. Within this article got published on the 8th, I saw everything explode the 9th. Everybody had the information by the 9th. So that
my goodness, this blew up quicker than the Bear Cup fiasco.
I know. So it's like, it didn't even take Book Talk that long. And Book Talk is full of researchers, like readers, authors, we're all researchers here. So a lot of people found the information really freaking fast, and they went after her. And by the way, her businesses, I'm not going to name them because they've already gotten dumped on, but she literally has a business that offers authors classes for how to do AI writing. And I want to say she probably had to shut down the page, is what I heard, because it got so many bad reviews. She had to contact Google. She had to have Google shut down her reviews. Like, her stuff was review bombed within 5 minutes. People were not having it. So like, that gives me some comfort that readers will not like this. So Elizabeth Ann West, if you're paying attention, readers do give a fuck, and they will make sure you know. But it's just the problem, the other big problem, I think, was the whole tone of the article. Like, the whole whole tone of it was like, well, you just have to be faster. Look, you know what? If I, as an indie author, like for example, this dragon book, I'm on what, 7 months with it, 6 months with it right now.
I don't know. All I know is I want you to finish it so I can read it.
I know. So like I'm on 6 or 7 months with it. It is going to be at least 400 pages if I'm lucky. Like the boyfriend over here keeps telling me 1200 pages. We're not listening to him, by the way, but it's going to be at least 400 pages. That is not like, I am not a fast writer, so it takes me a while. But like, sure, if I really felt like, oh, readers want me to publish this super fast and not do anything right, sure, I'll go use AI and then fuck myself, because I'm sorry. To me, if you're using AI to write your book, it's soulless. I'm sorry, let's be clear. It is a soulless book. You're not putting any intention in it. You're not putting any, because the reason why people love books is, and especially by authors that they invest in, is they look at the book and they say, okay, I see, I've been on this author's Instagram page, I've been on their TikTok, I've seen them investing time, I've seen them working their ass off on this book. I want to see this book. I want to see what they put the work into. But you're telling me, oh, it took me 2 days and I wrote 10 books. Okay, and are those going to be good books? No, because I don't care what, like, how AI uses the stolen information to write the book. It doesn't have a personality. AI
really doesn't.
AI is an algorithm that's a little bit intelligent, not a lot. I don't say it's a lot intelligent. It's a little bit intelligent, and so it basically imitates what you want and what you need. So you go in there, you put in 16 prompts, you get a book. Congratulations. But literally, I mean, you had a robot write a book for you. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Does that book have passion?
A blah book. It's not good. It's not bad. It exists.
And that's what's, and like we said, Crystal read one of her books. Like, I'm sorry, but like, if you can't even get a reaction of hatred out of a reader for a book, out of somebody, especially you, Crystal, who reviews a lot of books. Like, I remember when we were talking about Silver Elite for many months.
Yeah, like, I had to process that out of my system.
She's almost done. She's not there yet.
I'm done. I processed it. You were trying to reintroduce it, and everybody was telling you to leave me alone.
I did not. We need to do a live stream. Anyways. But with the Silver Elite, like, at least, like, I actually, we were talking about, we thought it might be AI written. And I think we both can agree now it's not, because
early on, I told you I wasn't really convinced 100% it was AI. It was just not good. Yeah. And the more I read, I told you, I really don't think this is AI. I think that people just talking.
But at least it got a reaction out of you. And that's the thing. A lot of authors are looking for reactions from readers. And I'm sorry, but if you have AI write the book, then you can't even, like, if a reader has a good reaction to it, I feel bad for the reader, because the reader's gotten scammed. You basically just scammed a reader and said, here's a robot book, and behind it you're teeing because, oh, look, I wrote it so fast and I used AI. But you've essentially scammed a reader into thinking that you gave a fuck about the subject matter, and you didn't. And that's where I get insulted, because to me, if you're going to sit down and, like every other author who isn't using AI, we sit down, we write for hours, we edit, we then re-edit, we do 1,500 drafts, we work on the covers for months. We do so much to make sure these books are reader ready, and we put our heart, souls into it. Okay. And then you're going to tell me that your AI book even compares? No, it does not. So like I said, if this is a race, I'm the fuck not in it. I'm the fuck out of it. I don't give a fuck, because
I am not racing you to publish a book first, Mia.
And so what if one author writes books faster? Like, you know what? I think the readers will always prefer something written from the heart than some, like, AI stolen content generated book. They just will. It's just like, I don't think that's ever even a question. Because, by the way, half the books they stole were like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or Bram Stoker's Dracula, like all these fucking classics that they can get for use now, because those are out of copyright, kind of, because the authors aren't around, right? And some of their estates still protect their stuff, but some of them don't. So it's like a lot of the writing that they put into AI. I mean, of course it's not good with sex, because a lot of the books it's taking information.
Yeah.
We're from a century where you couldn't write about that. So, okay. I just don't think. Look, I mean, if you feel like you have to be that fast writer, like learn how to edit faster. Learn, go out there and put yourself out there. Like, don't resort to AI. Don't resort to AI to solve your fast problems because it's not going to solve anything. You're going to have a book that's soulless, and then the first reader who compliments you, like to me, if I was that author, Elizabeth Ann West, if I was that, like, you can tell who I don't like in this article.
Yeah, I noticed that.
If I was the author, because I didn't like Coral Heart's Buddy either, but like once I read the other article, it sounded like somebody who kind of had met her and knew her. Like, I'm like, okay, some of this could have been out of context. So some of those quotes, I don't care the context, so some of those quotes were fucking stupid still. But Elizabeth Ann West, who's like, oh, well, we just, it'll replace. It won't, because people can find, like, people can discern the genuine from the bullshit. And AI to me comes out as bullshit because it's a robot, it's an algorithm using stolen content to give you a book. Like, how is that going to be anything I want to read? Nah, no. Mm-hmm. So anyways, that was that. But let's take a breath. Crystal, anything you want to add
on the AI controversy?
Yeah, that.
I think we covered it all. Anything else we would be adding is going to be for a different discussion when we get into AI covers and AI clips for stuff and everything. Yeah. That's a whole different video.
Yeah, that's definitely a different video. Okay, so, and also please don't come for us. We were just having an honest discussion about AI, but if you're going to light your pitchforks up, at least make it pretty. I demand sparkly purple fire. That's all I'm saying.
So do I.
If you're gonna come for me, make it pretty, because I ain't got time for boring ass fire. Anyways, but Crystal was like, you know what? We're gonna have this discussion, and then we're gonna need something happy. So, Crystal, take it away. Give us our happy thought story at the end. Well, it starts out a little sad. Well, it starts out happy.
It starts out sad, but it has a happy ending.
Okay, so you take it away, Crystal. You're wrong.
Okay, many of y'all probably heard about Mr. Tendernism. I believe his name is Walter Johnson.
Okay, well, hold on. For those who haven't, tell them how it's, because I actually know about this because one of my favorite YouTubes is Jordan the Stallion, and he does a bunch of food videos. And so love him. I love his content. I loved his reactions to good food. And he's the one I saw it through. But evidently there was a Keith Lee. Keith Lee is a sweetheart too.
Yeah, so, it apparently started more with Keith Lee.
Okay, so go for it.
Okay, so Keith Lee likes to go to these restaurants and stuff, these smaller restaurants, everything, and give, I believe, the owner $4,000. Now he went to this place, Operation Smokehouse, because Mr. Tendernism, this older gentleman, had made viral videos where he would show his barbecue fall off the bone, look nice and juicy. I remember you told me you saw that, and you were even plotting to go out there and give it a try.
Jason, look, I'm the meat queen in the house. Like, I will cook the meat the best. But let me tell you, if I see a restaurant that has the good meat, like me and Jason have already made like a roadmap of shit we want to travel to next year and go taste. So yes, it was on my to eat list.
It was on the to eat list. But basically, Keith Lee went to Operation Smokehouse where Mr. Tendernism was, and he was plotting to give him the $4,000 like he always does. He always does that whenever he goes to a restaurant. But unfortunately, when Keith Lee arrived, they wouldn't let him talk to Mr. Tendernism. They were claiming he was filming something and couldn't talk. And Keith Lee was going to be a good sport about it. Since he couldn't give Mr. Tendernism the money, he gave it to other people so they could have their meal paid for. And then he got some of the barbecue. He reviewed it. He said it was very good. And you think everything would be done and over after that. He said the food was good, and unfortunately he couldn't meet Mr. Tendernism, aka Onk.
Yeah.
AKA, I believe, Walter Johnson. Anyway.
Uncle Tender.
Yes, Uncle Tendernism. But anyway, that happened, and you think all this would die down after you just give it a minute. But then the real owner of Operation Smokehouse, let me see, what was his name? Wow, this thing doesn't even want to tell me the guy's name, but he's not a nice person, so I'm not even really gonna get too much into that. But the real owner of Operation Smokehouse, he and Mr. Tendernism ended up making a video because the owner wanted to make it clear that, because people were starting to find out after the Keith Lee article, everybody thought Mr. Tendernism owned the smokehouse. People started to find out after Keith Lee because people started looking into it more. He did not.
I got the name, by the way. I got the name of the guy. Nick.
Thank you.
Yepremian is the owner of Destination Smokehouse, sometimes referred to as Operation Smokehouse, in California. And it just says he faced a bunch of backlash after the departure of the viral pitmaster Unk. So
yeah, so here's what happened. They made a video, and the what's his name again was bringing up how no, he works at the thing for them. They kind of implied partnership, but not really. He was the owner, and he said that Mr. Tennism had come to his family's place back when it was a coffee shop, and suggested that they turn it into a barbecue pit. And thanks to a certain virus outbreak, they decided, you know what, maybe we should go with this guy's whole barbecue pit idea. He taught them how to do the smoke and everything, smoke the meat properly, taught them the recipes, all that stuff. And they got really, really popular off of it, especially with the whole Mr. Tendernism thing, helped go it even further. And the guy was all like, well, yeah, he contributed a lot, but I also went on YouTube and I contributed learning this, blah, blah. Basically, he learned to watch a YouTube video to know how to operate the machinery. Anyway, he was acting like, oh yeah, huge deal. But there was, you could tell, some tension there. And it was like he was kind of seeming to be mad that Keith Lee wasn't there to give him that $4,000 tip, which you're making money hand over fist with this viral thing. If you were a nicer person, you wouldn't have given a shit.
Take the win. Like, come on.
I mean, you would have wanted to keep the guy who's bringing in the money for you around. But
keep the experience.
Yeah, because, you know, and sometime after that, he decided he was going to fire Unk. And he just unceremoniously fired him. After the man had basically built him a money-making business, he kicked him to the curb like he was nothing.
Rude.
Yeah,
Rude
so
AF.
when you do stuff like that, you know, Unk is an elder in the Black community, and he was doing all this stuff, and he made a name for him. A lot of the Black community was like, well, if you're going to do him like that, we're not going to eat there. And the second we were like, we're not going to eat there, everybody was like, what did you do to him? We're not going to eat there either. And people started,
Also, white people, let me translate for you. That means you shouldn't go there either.
You know the second Black folks stop going to a restaurant, y'all ain't gonna want it no more.
Right?
But yeah, so the second that happened, people started sending money to Unk's GoFundMe. I believe there was a rapper who also helped out to try to make it so Unk could open his own business. At the same time, as we know, Unk made his name off of being Mr. Tendernism, and there was an issue with the trademark. Operation Smokehouse decided they want to take Tendernism for themselves, well, knowing Unk was the one who created it.
Well, what's interesting is
nice.
They talk about the fact, like in the article I'm looking up on it, they're talking about the fact that it looks like Unk discovered that they were trying to copyright the term he came up with, and that's why he left. Which, yeah, of course you would, because you're not going to let a company that like is trying to steal your shit.
I think it was part of the controversy because they did indeed fire him unceremoniously, but I think that was also one of the things he was trying to fight them over, which is understandable. But thankfully, before Operation Smokehouse even tried to trademark Tendernism, this attorney, Kenneth Harris, had heard about the whole thing before everything blew up. He had heard about Unk and all this stuff. And we have sadly seen this story over and over again. A Black man builds up a white man's business and he takes it all. So knowing that, Kenneth Harris had put in the request to trademark Tendernism.
Yeah.
And because he had done that, by the time Operation Smokehouse went after trying to trademark Tendernism themselves, it was too late. Kenneth Harris had put his in ahead of time. He got the trademark Tendernism and he gifted it to Unk.
And I got the name of the rapper. So Cartel Bo is the rapper who's a Houston rapper who decided that he was going to partner with the viral pitmaster, Mr. Tenderism, who invented the word. Okay, that man, as far as I'm concerned, Unk invented the word. That's how this podcast is Mr. Tenderism supported. Okay. We're not going to just Nick don't get any fucking credit here. Okay.
I mean, when we go, we're going to Mr. Tenderism's restaurant, not Operation Smokehouse.
So supposedly they're saying that there are plans in work right now. It says that he is a private chef for R&B legend Ron Isley, right. But They are supposedly there's plans with the rapper to make his own restaurant. So go him. Like look, if you've seen the videos, and I saw, so like I said, Jordan the Stallion actually did a video with him where he went and he was like, oh, what's tenderism? And they have this whole discussion about it. And the guy literally, he has this thing, which I love. He's so cute. He's so adorable. I'm sorry. He's fucking adorable. He has this thing where he like holds the meat up and you see the bone just like all the meat just drop off the bone and hit the plate.
I was ready to get a plate the second I saw that.
And then he's like, that's tenderism. And I'm like, dude, for real. That is, you invented the
I know,
word,
you were telling me how you had plans ready to go.
I'm just saying, yeah, you show me meat that falls off the bone. Where address, please. I will go.
Yeah, with that much juiciness seeping out of it.
Right? All the juices. Oh, meat, tender meat, man. You cannot beat it. So yeah, no, you know what? Mr. Tenderism, like, he clearly, like, he was the pit master. So clearly, he is the one doing all the work. Like, okay, Nick, you own the business. Just because you own it doesn't mean you're the guy who made it. Stop trying to take credit for other people's work.
I do need to tell you 2 more things about this because this was some other stuff I found on the TikTok. Oh, you're not interrupting her.
I got distracted by the tender meat, Crystal. I was thinking about it and I'm like, now I want it, but I don't have it.
I was getting distracted by you reminding me how good that meat looks.
See, now you owe me chocolate and tender meat. Go on, finish.
Oh my goodness, with the blackmail. Anyway. So
keep the list. Go on. I'm writing my
I
list
will
right
tell
now.
you about this Operation Smokehouse. It's not just that people have stopped going there because they used to say it was lines out the door. You'd have to wait for hours just to get in. Now you can get in 1, 2, 3. Some people did go later after Mr. Tenderism was fired to see if the food was still good. And they are saying it's not. Like, it looked okay, but they're like, it's not that great. They feel like, and I had heard Unc was able to keep his recipes. So this guy who owns it, I don't think he's as good as a pit master as Unc. To be honest, he was even making videos where he was having him and the staff eat some of the stuff and everybody was quiet. He's like, whoa, that's so good. You have nothing to say. And I'm like, buddy, sometimes people are quiet when they don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
About your food. And I'm hearing the food there has declined in quality.
Of course, because you lost. I'm sorry. This is a thing for me where there's a lot of businesses that like somebody else, like the secret to what their recipe or the secret to who's doing the work comes out. And then they get mad because, well, it's my business. Well, yeah, but if somebody else has been doing the work, they deserve the credit. Like, you can't just take credit for it. Okay, it was your machinery that was used. Congratulations. You bought the good machines. But like, if Mr. Tenderism, who Unc, we love us some Unc. If
yes,
Unc
we all love
doing
Unc.
the work, putting it, because I'm sorry, to do meat that way, by the way, you have to get up at what, like 3 a.m. You have to get it seasoned, get it, like, you have to. I've watched enough Top Chef shows, okay, that I know it takes a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, so I'm smoking enough meat with my smoker to know it takes forever.
Right? So it's like, there's no, oh man, I want a smoker. Anyways, there's no way you're going to convince me that because you own the machines in the business that you should get the credit. No, Unc gets the credit. And this irritates me when businesses are like, oh, somebody else got famous off, but oh, I can't have that. So I'm gonna hurry and make sure the credit, everybody knows the credit goes to me. No, the credit goes to the person who did the work.
And also the owner did
into the AI discussion.
I will tell you, the owner and put out an apology. I don't know if you saw it. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you don't watch it. Oh, because it makes people mad.
Look, your apology should be to Unc. That's who you should be apologizing to. You don't need to apologize to the people who ate his food because they love him. They ate his food. They're good. We already trying to steal his shit.
Yeah, because I already know if we do anything with tenderism in the future, it'd be one of us or both of us will be heading down to a restaurant when it opens to get some of that damn meat.
And here I'm gonna find the GoFundMe for Mr. Tenderism. We'll link that down below because you know that man deserves some extra money to get me food. He owes me food, and he's looking at him. He's so cute. Crystal, pop up an image here. This man is fucking adorable, and in 2026,
he seems like a very sweet person.
The adorable shit. Okay, I need all the adorable shit. Oh my God, Crystal. Okay, look at this. He asked for 90,000, right, for his dream, and it talks about how he wanted to that he was fired from the restaurant he helped make famous, and he wants to launch his own food truck where he'll showcase his signature barbecue. I will be living at that food truck. Good to know.
We need to know to stock it.
and he said he's going to travel city to city. I need him to come to my house. If you
Same
want to come
here.
to my house and give me food, okay, thanks, bye. Or you can just come see me and Crystal in Atlanta in April,
When we
and we'll take the
eventually,
food.
yeah, just come in April when we're getting ready to go to our Tennessee.
Yes.
Oh, we need to throw this out. In April, on April 18th and 19th, Mia and I will be in Smyrna, Tennessee for the
Yes.
event of,
We are
Mia,
so
tell them the event.
excited. Yes, we will be at the Once Upon a Page event, and we're going to have, okay, look, I'm not saying me and Crystal are going to be causing all the shenanigans because there's going to be a lot of people there. So really, we're just going to be causing some of the shenanigans, but shenanigans will ensue, and I've promised not to bring glitter, but like, no,
Yeah, but you
somebody
also
did tell
don't promise
me.
not to bring glitter.
I did promise not to bring glitter. Nobody said I couldn't bring confetti. I'm not going to bring confetti though. I don't want to get kicked in the face. But there will be shenanigans. There will be. Me and Crystal are thinking about doing like a 5-second live. Like we're going to do a live stream possibly that day and just interview all the authors and then put it out. So we might tune back in on, was it 18th? 18th and or 19th.
18th and 19th in Smyrna, Tennessee. If you go to
Yes.
the spinebookshop.com, you can get
Yes.
your tickets today.
Get the tickets.
Get
And
the tickets. We
let's
have a
talk
fun
about.
time for you there.
Dude, I had to throw things at Lindsay because she was trying to offer dirt cheap tickets. Now, look, people, you're still going to get really good tickets. But
Those
I was
tickets
like,
are
woman, you need to
really
make
good
money.
price.
Yes. I was like, you need to make some money. Don't argue with me. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, we're going to have a blast. We're getting prepared for it now. Oh, my goodness. Are we? It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. We've been going back and forth for days. Like, did you get this? Did you get that? Did you order books?
I know. I haven't ordered. I haven't ordered. I will be ordering my books. I'm trying to get. So the thing is, that's what I was talking about. The update for me is I have my second Muse book that's been published, but I never got an author copy, so I didn't see it was messed up. So I'm fixing that. Ada's actually helping me with the last part. So Ada forced me to accept help.
Yes, she's referring to Ada Blunt, the author of A Pearl for Christmas.
And Dear Pia. And so she's going to help me get it finished in the next day or so. And then I'm going to re-upload it, get it published, make sure it's perfect, and then I will have both my Muse books and I wasn't able to do art for the second book, but I have my art for the first book that I used with Canva, and so I have some very pretty book art that I'm giving away at the book signing.
Y'all gonna want that book art
for free, because I will tell you now, I'm gonna start selling signed copies online, and I will be charging a little bit for the book art with it, but at the signing, I'm not charging shit for the book art. You're just going to get it with the signing. So just so you know, this is your chance to get free book art.
And this may also be your chance to get my very first book box, my Wedded Bliss book box with Wedded Bliss hardcover with full color pages and other goodies.
Yes.
It's maybe most likely going to be available at the event. And you're going to want that along with some other fantasy books that you're definitely going to enjoy. I'll have available, but you get to hang out with me and Mia at this event in Smyrna, Tennessee on April 18th through 19th. I'm going to flash the name above our head.
And we're going to be doing panels. So there's a fantasy panel that I think both of us are on. There's a couple other panels that we're all talking, like there's going to be a lot of panels there's going to be some awesome voice actors there too.
Oh, so, yeah,
don't
amazing.
Just come for our shenanigans.
They're amazing.
I'm just saying there's some delightful
Come
voices.
for the good time, because this is going to be a lot of fun. You will be grateful you went. And you'll be sad if you don't go.
You will be sad. You will be sad. We will have footage. You will be sad, but that's okay. And the next year, me and Crystal have talked about sinful signings. That's on our to-do list. And possibly, I don't know how we're going to fit Dragon, but we're going to try.
We have to do Dragon Con eventually. I'll figure it out. Besides, I need to show you around Atlanta.
Crystal, how far are you away from Virginia? Because that's where sinful signings in. So...
I think I'm about 4 hours away. I need to double check. I haven't looked that up for a minute.
So I'll just come live with you for a few days and we'll go to Sinful Sightings. There, done.
If it's cost effective, it may be easy for you to fly out there.
Yeah, no, but we'll fly to you and then go there and then
we'll find. We can use my smoker to smoke some meat.
Ooh, yes, smoke.
Yeah, I got a Traeger.
Ooh, Crystal has a smoke. Anyways, okay. Before we get back into the meat discussion, you guys, I think we've covered the bad, the good, the ugly, and
yeah,
Mr.
we ended
Tendernism,
with
who is
a happy
delightful.
story from Mr. Tendernism. I wanted to end on
Yes.
that good note just because I know how people get hot under the collar about
Yes.
AI. So let's think about how, you know, this whole thing with Mr. Tendernism worked out and karma was
Yes.
served.
Karma was, look, Nick, you did wrong. You should say sorry. Just go to Unc and apologize.
A
And,
real apology,
beg for
not that
forgiveness.
bullshit you were trying to pull online, because I could even watch the whole thing. You know how I even found out about it?
I didn't
TikTokers
even
across
know.
the board. No, you know how I found out before I even saw the video?
Yeah.
TikTokers across the board were mocking him for that apology. And they were going, you need to go and give Unc a real apology, because what kind of bullshit is this? And they were bringing up, you were just trying to steal his everything after he helped you.
I can't. We'll need to find his food truck and follow him around. So anyways, you guys.
Yeah, it's not stalking. It's just the meats. We need the meat.
The meats. Okay, anyways. So, so before we get distracted again, thank you guys so much for coming, listening. Please like, please subscribe, and get prepared, because we'll probably do, it might be a quick live stream, but at least 18th or 19th, or maybe we'll even for kicks go for both.
We may even do both days, depending how things go. We're still making plans. Either way, y'all, it is going to be fun. You are going to want to go to the Once Upon a Page book convention.
Go. And next year, I've actually, I didn't tell Lindsay this. I've been telling a lot of people about this, and there's a lot of people who have other things that they couldn't go to it. But a lot of those people said next year they'll definitely look into it. So I have a feeling that next year this is going to explode. So I'm gonna have to bring money with me.
It's gonna be big this year. It's gonna be even bigger next year.
It's gonna be
all
big.
I'm saying is y'all aren't gonna want to miss out.
Yes. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Definitely give us your thoughts below about how you feel about any of the stuff we've talked about. AI.
Yeah, how do you feel about these AI books? How do you feel about tendernism outside of going and getting some nice smoked meat from Unc?
Right. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. We love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.